Hey yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Crunch Time, back at it again with another video. And no, I'm not going to stop the top 10 series. I just want to talk about the Warriors a bit because they're my favorite team and I think that they're the team to be keeping an eye on this offseason. Also, I'm just trying to switch things up a bit, try out different vibes, whether to do more structured videos like the one I did yesterday, or to do something a bit more like this one where it's more off the dome and a bit more relaxed, just saying whatever comes to mind. I don't know. You guys let me know which one you like more down in the comments below. Also, while you're down there, go ahead and leave a like if you enjoy my content and subscribe. Or don't if you don't feel like it. I can't make you do anything. I'm just a guy making YouTube videos. But what I will say is that we're dropping bangers on this channel. So if you don't want to miss a video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell to join Noti Gang and receive notifications when I drop my next upload. Alright, with that out of the way, do it. Do the thing. Come on, what's happening? What's going on? Why isn't it doing the thing? Do the thing! Alright, so the Warriors are in an interesting position, to say the least. First of all, we've got a lot of trade assets. We've got Andrew Wiggins, who his trade value it's pretty high. He's got potential. I mean, he doesn't have as much potential as he did, back in the days when he was the #1 pick and we still had hopes that he was going to be a superstar. He ain't got potential like that anymore, but he's still a decent, relatively young player with loads of room to grow, and while he's been with the Warriors, he's been playing all right, so his draft stock has definitely improved, and he's a good young piece that we could move for, along with our other trade assets, to maybe get a superstar, as I'll talk about later on in this video. Another trade asset that we have is also the second overall pick this year. We have the second round picks from Dallas and Utah this year, and a top 3 protected first round pick from the Wolves next year. And I don't think the Wolves will be bad enough next season to have a top 3 pick in the draft, so I think we're pretty safe with that pick. And then we'll also have 3 second round picks next year, so yeah, there's that. Maybe you could even consider Draymond a trade piece. Now, I don't know what you could get for Draymond since his stock is at an all-time low. Or even if the Warriors would even want to trade him, given how important he's been to our franchise. Or maybe they hope he'll bounce back next year playing alongside Curry and Clay. Because, I mean, Draymond's a player that's interesting because I feel like he raises his level of play when he's playing around superstars. So, I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait till next season to see what happens. But I think that's the kind of player that Draymond is. And I think that he'll bounce back pretty alright. I think it'll be pretty decent for us next year. So I wouldn't trade him, but it's just a thought. So yeah, we have a lot of trade assets that we could definitely package together for a superstar. And before we even get into the possibilities of trading away this #2 overall pick, I mean, let's talk about the circumstance in which we do keep the pick and draft someone. Now, obviously, if the Warriors choose to keep this pick, the general consensus is that we'll use it to draft James Wiseman. Now, as a Warriors fan, I have pretty mixed emotions about drafting James Wiseman. From the few games that I saw him play, yes, I can definitely see the superstar potential there. But that's exactly the problem that I have with James Wiseman. It's the sample size. He played 2 or 3 games in college before he got suspended. For me, that sample size is very concerning when you're talking about drafting a player with the second overall pick, especially when you have more polished and proven players slated to go later, and they'd still fit the team to a T. Players like Obi Toppin and Onyeka Okongwu, who would fit our system to a T, and they're more polished offensive players than James Wiseman. But on the other hand, like I said, there is superstar potential written all over James Wiseman, and I think that he may have more upside than basically anyone in the draft, maybe other than LaMelo Ball. I don't know. I mean, he's got all the natural, God-given physical tools. He's 7'1", 251 pounds, with a 7'6" wingspan and a 9'6" standing reach, which is insane. And on top of that, he's mobile. He's got a high motor. And from what I've seen, he's got at least a decent work ethic. So you don't have to worry about him becoming like his potential teammate Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, we all know how that went. Pretty disappointing, but I don't think you have to worry about that with James Wiseman. And then we come to his fit on the Warriors. It's like a match made in heaven, man. Because over the years, the center position has been somewhat a weakness for us, at least compared to like the rest of our roster. So, I mean, there's that. Also, as we saw with the small ball Rockets, a small ball lineup that we've gotten away with running this past half a decade, actually. I mean, it's been fine because we've had a 7-footer in Kevin Durant at the small forward position who was pretty good on defense. We've had Clay, who's been an amazing defender so far in his career. We've had Draymond. So we've gotten away with running this small ball lineup because we just got such amazing defenders on our team. But now, I don't know, man. And especially after the small ball Rockets got like destroyed by the Lakers, I just don't think that we can really get away with running a small ball lineup anymore. I think the league's changed so that it just won't allow us to run that kind of lineup anymore. So I think James Wiseman could be someone we put in the paint to block shots or at least contest them and also grab boards, which I don't think is asking too much of him. I mean, he is 7'1" with a 7'6" wingspan, so I don't think that's asking too much of him. So yeah, drafting James Wiseman would still be like a phenomenal way to go from here. But I mean, it's fun to talk about hypotheticals, so let's just get into the first trade option. And I've heard that we could trade for Bradley Beal potentially. Bradley Beal, it's a weird situation, you know. I feel like yes, there is a possibility that it happens, but it is pretty slim. And I'll tell you why. It's because there are only two ways the Wizards part ways with Bradley Beal. And the first way is if the Warriors offer them a trade package so phenomenal that they absolutely cannot pass it up. And man, even if we throw all our trade capital at the Wizards, you know, Wiggins, the second overall pick, and all those future picks, maybe even a Draymond, I think it'll make them pause and think about it for a moment, but I just don't think it'll be enough for the Wizards to give up a player that's just averaged 30 points for them last season. I think he averaged that. So yeah, I don't think that trade package will blow them away enough to part ways with Bradley Beal. Then the second way that we could possibly get Bradley Beal is if he stamps his feet and demands out. Now for me at least, I don't think Bradley Beal is that kind of player that would stamp his feet and just demand a trade. I mean, I think literally just last week he said he wanted to spend the rest of his career in Washington. So, I mean, there's that. And yes, I know superstars say things like that all the time. Literally last season, Kyrie told all of Boston up front he'd resign. And in that offseason, he was gone. So, yeah, I know never to completely trust what a player says until he's actually gone and re-signed. But I don't know. Bradley Beal doesn't seem like that type of player. I feel like he's sincere about really wanting to finish off his career in Washington. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But let's even talk about Bradley Beal's fit on the Warriors because it's kind of suspect, bro. It's kind of sus. If I'm being honest. I mean, I guess we'd slide Clay over to the 3, which I'm fine with. I feel like he can guard most small forwards in the league. But that backcourt is not stopping anyone, man. That backcourt of Stephen Curry and Bradley Beal will not, points will be so easy to come by when we're playing defense. And then we're talking about having Clay, who's coming off an ACL tear. And I know I've seen clips of him in the double. I think they're calling it the double. I'm not sure. But I've seen clips of him, scrimmaging with the Warriors. And he's looked fine. He's looked almost like his usual self. So, I don't know. He was even dunking. He looks to be fine. But, it's one of those things where you can't really be too sure until you see it on the court. And I don't know. I'm holding my breath on Klay Thompson. We'll see how he bounces back from his ACL tear. And then there's Draymond, who's coming off the worst season he's had since he's joined the league. And then a 6'9" Kevon Looney at center. I mean, that lineup, it won't stop anyone. I don't think that this is the way to go. Because while, yes, we will be a juggernaut on the offensive end, for sure, But defensively, we will be absolutely ripped apart, and I don't think we can win a championship like that. I think there has to be some sort of balance, and that kind of brings us to our next player. And so this next option I'll make quick because I think there's almost no way. Actually, I think there's like maybe a 1% chance it happens, but it did cross my mind after they got swept in the first round. And of course, I'm talking about trading for either Simmons or Embiid. Probably Embiid because I think Simmons is probably a bit more valuable to the Sixers than Embiid right now. I mean, he does facilitate their offense. I think he's a bit younger. So it would just make sense to hold on to Simmons over Embiid if you had to choose. But, I mean, let's say we throw the bag at the Sixers too. So we're talking about a lineup of Curry, Clay, Draymond, Looney, and Embiid. Or maybe Looney run the 5 and Embiid at the 4. I don't know. Something like that. I think I like it just a tiny bit more than the hypothetical Beal lineup, which I didn't like at all. So take that for what you will. At least we wouldn't be getting killed on defense every time in the court. We still wouldn't be phenomenal, I don't think, on the defensive end, but we wouldn't be getting killed on that side of the court. So, I mean, there's that. But again, I doubt the Sixers are willing to move on from this core this season. Maybe next season if they don't make it that far or in the playoffs again or they come short in the playoffs again, I think it might be time to move on from that core. But as it is right now, I mean, I think you could attribute their playoff exit this year to the absence of Ben Simmons and also the coaching of Brett Brown, which I think they recognize that because they did just fire Brett Brown and just signed Doc Rivers. And it looks like they're retooling their front office, not their team. So I don't know how realistic an Embiid trade is anyways. But we'll just have to see and wait until the offseason, I guess. I just don't think it'll happen. Finally, I mean, let's talk about the big fish, right? We all know who I'm talking about. We all know Giannis Antetokounmpo. God, I love saying that name. Anyways, yeah, I think the same thing I said for the Beal trade also applies to Giannis. And that's that the only way this happens is if Giannis stamps his feet and says he wants out, which I just don't think will happen, at least not this offseason. But if the Bucks don't make some relatively big changes and retool their roster this season, because they will need to, they did come short in the East and almost got swept by the Heat. And then factor in the fact that the East will be even more loaded next year, where we have the Nets coming back. We have the Celtics getting better because their core is just so young. The East will be pretty good next season. So I think they have to retool their roster. So if they don't retool their roster and if they either aren't doing good in the regular season or it just doesn't look like they're a championship contenders yet, I think that's the only way he really stamps his feet and demands a trade. And if in that case, I think we do have the best offer out of basically any team in the league. And if that happens, unlike the last two trades, I would say yes without hesitation, because I think we'd be looking at a lineup of Curry, Clay, Giannis, Draymond, and Looney, which I think would go crazy because of how much space Giannis would have to operate. I mean, he is like, regardless of what he did in the playoffs, he is still a top 3, in my opinion. He's still a top 3 player in the league. So I would definitely say yes. And yeah, like I was saying, Giannis would have so much room to operate with Curry and Clay on the perimeter. Like, how are you going to... You can't build a wall to stop that like the Heat did last season. They won't be able to do that because you'd have to send guys into the paint to block Giannis, and then you'd be leaving either Clay or Curry open. Because Curry will be out there running off of screens. Clay will always be a threat from deep here. You'll have to stick on him, or he's going to be taking that shot every time. So he just have so much room to operate, and I love that lineup. And then with the reigning defensive player of the year holding down our defense, yeah, we'd be nice. And I think that's honestly a championship team. Even if we go up against the Lakers, I think Giannis on AD would be fine. Clay on LeBron would be all right, I guess, maybe, assuming he comes back even like 90% defensively of what he was before his ACL tear. I think it'll be fine putting him on LeBron and maybe having Draymond help out a bit if LeBron gets past Clay. So, yeah, I think that's it. The Warriors are definitely in an interesting position, to say the least, And yeah, I did say I disliked a couple of these potential lineups, but I mean, in comparison of what we could potentially do, like best case scenario, I just meant that I didn't like those lineups as much as like, the best case scenario, which I think makes sense. I think that no matter what we do, we will be a good team next season. I trust Bob Myers to make the best move. But yeah, I think I'm done. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment about what you think the Warriors should do. Also, did you like this video format? Or I just kind of was a bit more loose, I guess, and just, said what came to mind instead of a more constructed video like I did yesterday. Which one do you like more? Leave a comment down below and subscribe. Or don't if you don't feel like it, I can't make you do anything. Either way, there's your daily upload, guys. I'm on that YouTube grind trying to grow this channel. I'm going to try to upload every day. I don't know how realistic that is, but I'll try. I'll definitely try. Anyways, have a good day, guys. Click on that video on your screen that's popping up right now to watch the video I uploaded yesterday. Other than that, it's been your boy Crunch Time, and I'll see you next time. Peace.